The night was torn apart by the thunder of drums. Deep, heavy, unrelenting, each beat carried across the savannah like the growl of an angry god. Queen Amara stood upon the high cliffs overlooking her land. Fires burned in the distance, signaling enemy movement. The rival tribe had come at last, and they came with fury. Her chiefs shouted behind her, voices full of fear and urgency. "My queen, we must summon every warrior. The strangers have aligned with the Iron Fang clan. They will crush us if we do not act." But Amara's thoughts were not on her council, they were on him. Kale stood at the edge of the gathering, unarmed but unafraid, his eyes locked on the horizon. He looked like a shadow carved from steel, ready to face death without hesitation. When their eyes met, she felt the fire return, that forbidden, dangerous fire that now seemed to be the only thing keeping her strong. "Let me fight," Kale said suddenly, stepping forward. His voice cut through the clamor of her chiefs like a blade. The elders bristled with rage. "He is not one of us. He is a prisoner, a stranger. How can you trust him?" But Amara silenced them with a single raised hand. Her gaze never left Kale. "You swore a vow," she whispered, the words only for him. Kale nodded, his jaw tight. "And I meant it. Give me a blade and I will bleed for you, I will burn for you." The heat in his words stirred something fierce within her. In that moment, she realized the choice she had already made. She turned to her warriors, her voice sharp as steel. "Bring him a spear. If he fights under my banner. If he dies as one of us." A murmur spread through the gathering, shock, outrage, awe, but no one dared defy her. Kale took the weapon offered, his grip steady, his eyes never leaving hers. He lowered his head slightly, not in submission, but in fierce, dangerous devotion. "For you," he said simply. And as the war drums grew louder, Queen Amara felt the pull of something greater than duty, greater than law. For the first time in her reign, she was not just a queen preparing for battle. She was a woman standing beside the man who had claimed her fire. The horizon burned with enemy torches. The night promised blood. And between passion and war, a storm was about to break. The battlefield roared like a beast unleashed. Spears clashed, shields splintered, and the cries of warriors echoed across the savannah. The fire of war painted the night sky with red and gold. Queen Amara stood at the heart of it, her crimson cloak flowing like a banner of flame. She wielded her blade with the grace of a goddess, cutting through foes who dared to approach her. Yet, even as she fought, her eyes searched for him. Kale. She saw him among her warriors, a storm of strength and fury. His spear moved with deadly precision, each strike fueled by a rage older than this war. The enemy fell before him, one after another, but his eyes were never far from hers. Their gazes met through the chaos, and for a heartbeat the world fell silent. It was not the clash of war that burned in that moment, but something deeper, hungrier. A soldier lunged at Amara's back. She turned too late. But Kale was already there. His spear pierced the enemy's chest, saving her. His body pressed against hers in the fray, shielding her as if she were his only reason to live. "Stay close," he growled, his breath hot against her ear. Amara's pulse raced, not just from the battle but from the heat of him, the nearness of him. Even in war, even surrounded by blood and death, her body betrayed her, craving him. "You fight like fire," she whispered breathlessly as they moved together, striking side by side. "And I burn only for you," Kale answered, his voice raw with desire and fury. They carved a path through the battlefield, their movements like a dance of blades and longing. Every clash, every brush of his body against hers ignited sparks no war could extinguish. When at last a moment of reprieve came, they found themselves pressed against the wall of a ruined outpost, the sounds of battle still raging around them. Kale's hand gripped her arm, pulling her close. His chest heaved with exertion, his eyes blazing not only with battle lust but with something far more dangerous. "You are mine," he said low and fierce. Amara's heart thundered, her lips parting as she met his gaze. "Then take me after this battle is ours." The promise between them burned hotter than any flame, even as steel clashed around them. And with that vow they returned to the battlefield, two souls bound by blades and desire, ready to face death together. The battlefield lay silent at dawn. Smoke curled into the pale sky, carrying with it the stench of blood and fire. Crows circled above, their cries a grim song of death. Queen Amara stood at the ridge, her crimson cloak stained darker with battle's price. Around her, her warriors gathered the wounded, buried the dead. The Iron Fang clan had been repelled for now. But victory carried no joy. Her heart was heavy, not from the blood spilled but from the whispers that had already begun. "Did you see him fight?" one elder murmured. "The stranger, too skilled, too powerful, he is no mere wanderer." Another spat on the ground. "The queen trusts him more than her own blood, she endangers us all." Amara ignored them, though the words pierced her deeper than any blade. She turned her gaze to Kale, who stood apart, cleaning his spear. His body bore fresh scars, but his eyes burned with the same untamed fire. When their eyes met, warmth flooded through her, but also fear. For in the shadows of the council, betrayal was already being sown. That night, in her private chamber, she summoned him. Kale entered, still smelling of smoke and steel. His presence filled the room, dangerous and intoxicating. "You should not be here," she whispered, though her body ached for him. He stepped closer, his voice low. "And yet you called me." Her resolve trembled. She had wanted to speak of duty, of danger, of the whispers in her counsel. But the moment his hand brushed hers, all words dissolved into fire. "You saved me today," she breathed, her lips trembling as his fingers lifted her chin. "I will always save you," he said, his eyes fierce. "But your people do not want me here. They fear what they do not understand." "They fear because they are right," Kale growled softly. His forehead rested against hers, his voice raw. "I am not who they think I am, and when they discover the truth." Her heart stilled. What truth? But Kale said nothing more. Instead, his lips claimed hers, silencing questions with hunger. His kiss was bruising, desperate, as though he knew time itself was slipping from their grasp. As their bodies pressed together in the dim firelight, shadows lengthened on the walls. For outside her chamber, in the dark corners of the palace, eyes watched. A trusted elder slipped silently away, carrying news that would ignite betrayal. The queen's secret was no longer safe. The night was heavy with silence, but Queen Amara could not sleep. The war was behind them, yet unease gnawed at her heart. She could feel betrayal lurking in the air, whispers slithering through her palace walls. Still, when she closed her eyes, all she saw was him. Kale. The fire of his kiss still lingered on her lips, the strength of his hands still burned on her skin. She had sworn to keep her distance, to be queen first and woman second, but each passing moment tore that oath apart. Unable to resist, she sent for him. Kale entered her chamber like a shadow, silent and strong. The moonlight kissed the sharp lines of his face, the scars on his chest, the hunger in his eyes. "You should not have come," she whispered, though her heart raced with relief. "I come because you need me," he said simply, "and because I can no longer fight what burns inside me." He moved closer, his presence overwhelming, his breath hot as he whispered against her ear. "They will never understand us, but here now you are not their queen, you are mine." Amara trembled, her body betraying her crown. His words wrapped around her like chains, chains she longed never to break. She reached for him, her fingers tracing the scars across his chest. "If this is madness, then let me burn in it," she breathed. Their mouths collided, fierce and desperate. His arms crushed her to him, lifting her as though she weighed nothing. The fire between them ignited into an inferno, consuming reason, devouring restraint. Her crown fell from her head, forgotten, clattering onto the stone floor. For in Kale's arms she was not a queen bound by duty. She was a woman chained only by desire. They moved together as though war itself raged within them, every kiss a battle, every touch a surrender. The world beyond her chamber ceased to exist. There was only his body, his fire, his vow whispered against her skin. "You are mine, Amara, no matter the cost." And though her heart screamed that betrayal stalked them, her body and soul surrendered completely. But beyond the chamber doors, shadows stirred. The elder who had seen them now spread poison into the ears of the council. Plans were already forming. The queen's passion would soon become her greatest weakness. The council chamber reeked of incense and deception. Torches burned low, casting long, crooked shadows across the carved walls. Queen Amara sat upon her throne, regal as ever, though her heart thudded with unease. Her chiefs and elders bowed before her, but she felt the venom in their eyes. One elder stepped forward, his voice sharp as a blade. "My queen, we have tolerated much, but last night your secret was witnessed. You bring shame upon your throne and danger upon us all." The chamber erupted with murmurs, whispers of stranger, forbidden betrayal. Amara's blood ran cold. Someone had seen, someone had spoken. Kale, who stood beside the guards, stiffened like a predator cornered. His hand twitched tea.